fundamentally, what's fair for the community? And what are we going to see as fair? What are our children going to see as fair in terms of how we pay for things and how we share the burden of essentially civilization, roads, schools, bridges, police, fire. And so, and that's what I come back to, what I said initially. This is about ultimately a philosophical difference. We have most of the tribal entities in our county support the vision of all of us pitching in together. Now they have rights that, as entities that others don't. The right to engage in gaming through the processes that they've negotiated and fishery rights, although Samish, by the way, don't have most of these fishery rights because of some of these historical, essentially, accidents. But, ultimately, we have a really good, sound, amicable relationship. There are 4 Native American tribes in Skagit County. Swinomish is the second, third largest, depending on how you count it. And we just, you don't hear about all the positive stuff that we're doing. The county contributed a bunch of land on Hanson Creek in the Upper Skagit, got some Obama money, and did this restoration project. It's this one of the best Chinook alluvial fan restoration projects in the Northwest. Nobody heard about that. And that happens all the time. So I think it is important. Where did you go? The gentleman who made the comment. But yeah, there you are. It's important that this is not the basis of our relationship. This is an unfortunate thing that's happening. We think it's an unreasonable exercise of sovereignty. No one is opposed to sovereignty. It's a right that tribes have. It's embedded in the Constitution. It's embedded, it's the law of the land. But there are limits to that as well in order for us to function as a community and as a society. And so that's what this is about. So I hope that answers your question.
I want to make just one comment when you're talking about, what's right, what's just, and dividing a line. I mean, in preparation for this meeting, both Commissioner Lisa and I met with Chairman Clattersby. He came out to the county offices, and actually we spent individually, because it wasn't a public meeting. But I mean, we both spent considerable time with him as he tried, he wanted to explain his position too, because if I do anything, I want to make sure that I'm as well as informed as I can be, and that I can hear it directly. Thanks to Anacortes, City of Anacortes, he did a presentation at a city council meeting, as had one of his attorney, Stephen McCoulier, had done that prior. So there are ways to get out there and get that information, but there's nothing like sitting across the table from each other. And, and so Brian is charming and engaging, and but I don't know what else he's got up his sleeve, and I don't know what cards he hasn't played. And that's the part that makes me really nervous. And although someone said, seems like, the county, you guys are all behind the 8 ball again, I feel like for the first time we're like a little bit ahead of the game, and that we have time, even though there's no process identified by the Bureau of Indian Affairs for us to participate in this legally. I think the political noise makes a difference. It has to make a difference, and we don't know exactly what the outcome, can be, because I don't know what other cards that Brian's team is planning to play. So we all have to participate in this. I've talked to Brian. I promised that I would tell him. I saw it in this letter too. He said, Lisa, write this down. Put this in quotes. Put my name next to it. Nothing is going to change. That's this letter that Molly and her team wrote up. But, I guess I'm not sure that I believe that, just given some of the other promises that have been made on other issues. I remember Chairman Clattersby very clearly telling me that the Great Wolf Lodge was a surprise to him. He had no idea the Department of Revenue was coming down with that guidance to everybody. And then we find out later that he actually met with the Department of Revenue. So, but I like the man. I'm just not sure I align with the politics. So if anything, we're being careful. We're being careful by hiring outside counsel, by trying to monitor as much of the information that comes through for you as possible and to not assume that anybody in Washington DC is working directly on our behalf without, some pushing from us, so.
One final comment I have is that I did a lot of work for many years for the federal government in terms of. One final comment I had is that I did a lot of work for the federal government for many years looking at defense issues, threats to the United States security. And what we always did was we looked at capabilities, not intentions. Because intentions can change. Even if somebody has good intentions today, the people that follow them 5 or 10 years down the road may not have such good intentions. Capabilities don't change that rapidly. So you have to look at what somebody's capabilities are. What are they capable of doing to cause damage to the United States or damage to property owners? We're not saying they have bad intentions right now. All we're saying is we want to understand the capabilities, and if we control what those capabilities are, we're in a stronger position.
So does that mean everybody go out and get a gun? What does that mean? I'm trying to get to know, I don't understand what you just said.
I agree with what you said.
If we have assurances from the Swinomish at the present time,
Which she says you can't believe the thing he says.
I'm not questioning whether to believe him or not.
Isn't that what I just heard?
Question isn't whether to believe him or
Nothing's
not.
gonna change and then, but, so I'm here to learn.
If somebody does not have the capability to affect your taxes, to affect your zoning, to affect access to your land, you don't have to worry about it anymore. If they have the capability, even if they express good intentions about not making any restrictions or changes, you don't know if somebody else 10 years down the road will make those changes.
We don't know the next time another group of 7 people that are sitting up there aren't gonna have a different interpretation of
We
our
elect
rights.
them, we don't elect members of the tribal council.
Well, 67% of this county did not vote with me.
All right, did he end his conversation with you two by saying, don't worry,
Nothing will change.
nothing will change?
That's okay.
All right, I have a question for this gentleman on the conversion of fee simple, for example, the golf course to tribal trust. And is there going to be a difference between the fast track method, because they're declaring that it is reservation land, and the original version of conversion, as well as can they convert with boundary disputes in the surrounding? I don't know how many people here live bordering the golf course, but there are many boundary disputes from the Morgan sale, and how can those be resolved? And the other thing is, I understand you can't sue a tribe, but you can sue the land. That was the Skagit tribe.
So we're talking about the fee to trust process, getting into the weeds in it. So what happened, this is really a product of gaming too. In 1991, the Bureau of Indian Affairs made a distinction between on-reservation fee to trust applications and off-reservation. So for off-reservation, you have to have a higher level of justification for needing the property. And that's this higher standard you have to meet. So what the BIA has said with regard to the golf course is they have rejected Swinomish's assertion that it's on reservation. They're going to process it as off reservation. Now, a tribe can apply to take land in trust anywhere. As a senator from North Carolina once said, a tribe can apply, purchase the Empire State Building. The Swinomish tribe could and apply to put it in trust. But the regulations have all kinds of criteria in them. The further away it is from your reservation, the higher level of justification you have to have. You generally have to show a historical connection to the land because of all these criteria. The final thing is the BIA is very conservative about taking land in trust. Because once it goes in trust, the land is owned by the United States, not technically by the tribe. The U.S. holds it for the benefit of that tribe. So they want all the land issues, liens, title issues. We have run into that, as you point out. The land title in this county is less than stellar from old records. So there are often encroachments, all kinds of things, rights of way. They generally all have to be cleared up before the federal government will take the land in trust.
Generally?
Yes. Technically, the regulation says they can take it in trust with those things, but I don't know of any circumstance where they actually will. So,
But you still can't sue on a sovereign entity.
well, so there's all different ways. So on a fee to trust application, it's the federal government that makes the decision, not the tribe. And you can appeal under the Administrative Procedures Act up within the Department of Interior and then to federal court, the federal government's action. And the tribe is actually not even a party to that case, but the rights of appeal are limited to the record. It's not the same as going to a full trial.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I think we've kept these people from their dinners long enough, and I really want to thank everybody for coming in. I personally would like to especially thank Swinomish for all the information they provided. Please be kind enough to bring it to the back and hang it back up to the rack. Thank you.